I will now start with a few of the real life situations in which you may be asked to make a small enclosure for actual practical applications like this. This one is taken from our PERLab. You see that the main what do you call the device here is a layout for a very complicated some device. Anyway, if we get into that we are likely to get lost, so I will avoid that. So, the thing here is saying two things are there which you need to see here. One is at the back, can you see? They have power supplies and they have something else also here. I am not very sure about the what they call technical specifications. I just wanted to tell you that in practical applications we will end up with having to work for equipment which work under that very what do you call potentially hazardous and dangerous situations, and any small mistake here, if somebody can wrongly connect something or it is likely to lead to injury. Seen this. So, at the bottom they have the same power supply, at the top they have this new what do you call range of oscilloscopes. So, it is very critical that you design a proper human interface with the whatever computer they have. So, a small error here is likely to lead to sometimes fatal consequences. So, I see here, so one of the what you call students is trying to get on with his work and just nothing, I am not sure what it is all about. But you are expected to make equipment for these things, and when somebody has to work, it should work without any error, and this is this similar thing, but part of a CNC machine. You see here, while at one level we are quite happy with it, we have a very complicated display here, and then there is a keyboard here. Though it is supposed to be fully computerized numerical control, still we end up with a reasonably good front panel. So, at this point what I wanted to stress for you is, this is in what you call part of a horizontal machining center. So, the way these things are laid out are slightly different from they are laid out here. Can you see here? This one is that same this thing, I could not have enough space for you to take a proper photograph. This one is a vertical machining center. If you see that keys and this organization is actually the very same thing, what was here, the same thing, only instead of keeping it on the right side they had to bring it to the bottom such that they can operate it, and including that what do you call the actual override control plus all these things, it needs a lot of design of the panel. Have you noticed it inside, these can be done by software, there is no problem, but however the outside the basic structure we end up with having to design that, and then at this point I still feel you as a professional or a what do you call a serious amateur can easily make all these things and you can present it to your friends. And in between, this is taken from my garden. You see, this is the usual what do you call, I do not know what you call it, the small temperature measuring device. Elsewhere another one I had opened it and showed you everything. Even in a place like this, while it looks it is easy or anything, certain improvements can be made. So, in this case it is of course obvious, saying, well, I will not pick on these things, no, saying wish these letters were above and something else is there, and of course these displays and all are there. What looks otherwise simple still does take a little bit of design, and most important what you will notice is probably here we have a display, and this blue sheet is a mask for all the things that are underneath. Thus probably all of these are mounted on a printed circuit board, and you need to make this overlay sheet and it becomes a product. Until that point it is not a product, and you will notice that most of this bottom half is probably occupied by the power supply. This can be used in the environment, and I mean you can measure the soil temperature just near the where the humus is, otherwise a little deeper where a little more activity takes place. This is the monitor which is placed in front of me. So, I am here, the small fellow in the corner is here, and our people set up these things before my work starts. I will just skip all this. You will notice this is some old equipment. This could make sense if you had lot of desktop space and the total amount of these gadgets on your desk is limited, and then this is probably an audio mixer which was purchased for something else. So, when you want to make something, important decision is, do you think this main wheel should be on the right or is it on the left, and you have all these mixer, slider and this thing, should they be right on the left, and then how do you need to organize these things. You can always make a mock up and discuss it with your friends. This is getting a little more professional. This one is the master, I do not know what they call, lever which does all the mixing and so on, and these are all the various options of wipes. Looks easy, is it not? And then we even have a joystick there. First time when you need to organize it, you probably have to make several alternatives, present it to actual user. Actual user can be any professional, and they are a little used to operating it in the conventional way in which their previous things have operated, or it is not exactly a population stereotype, but easy for them to adopt, and in due course they can change things. These were our early camera controls. I showed you a camera picture earlier. These two were the camera devices which control the various things of the camera. Right now fortunately we have very good things which do not need all this, but these are all professional equipment which have been borrowed from what is called the 3 camera chain of old time studios, and this is probably something used for mixing the two and so on. I have no clue, I just wanted to show you that if you take a thing like this and present it to somebody who has used everything earlier, he will become a member of a focus group. That focus group will now decide and tell you, it is not a matter of putting any random color you like. In this field, these are all the expected things, there is a standard related to this. So, the focus group is likely to give you all the necessary inputs before you actually fabricate a full fledged prototype. So, you need to make all these what do you call decals and stickers and all that, so that eventually it can be used, tested on the focus group, and you can make beautiful equipment. From here I will take you to an actual lab where some network activities are going on. I have no clue what these are, but this is part of the lecture I tried to demonstrate earlier. This is a typical 3U rack, 3U sub rack, I am sorry. These are all the plug-in units, and this is the, as I told you, we have captive nuts here, floating nuts, by which you assemble these things. Now, when you get this sub rack, first time you will notice that yes, I need to plug in various devices here, and there are cables in the front, and you have noticed something here. This one is a small battery which temporarily they have placed there. Normally such devices like these batteries and all are not parked here, they will be in the rear side. Yesterday, if you remember, I showed you one picture of a rack which is populated from the front as well as at the back. So, this is probably one of those, there is a back panel, and this is only temporarily a storage is kept here. Whether you like it or not, we keep ending up with this equipment, and there is a simple shelf on which these things are placed, and eventually after the work is over and everything works, either this is removed, this device is completely removed or replaced by a rack mounted supply. That is where I told you there are half rack, 1/4 rack and devices, where this whole thing, it has a small display. Next pictures I will show you. Once you plug it inside, this power is no longer drawn from the front, it is probably taken from the back, and then it will come back here, and this is a very, very convenient way of mounting it in a shelf. Invariably in all the designs, and when you are trying to develop things, this is part of it. You have seen here they have removed the small 7 ampere battery, and I do not even know what these things are, but since there is space, they have just populated these small modules here. Once your test is ready, now it is possible for you to go ahead and try to produce these things here. Can you see here? So, we have something here, then I do not even know what it is, what it goes there, and wiring can be made very, very very convenient if probably keeping something here and making the links short. So, something equivalent to a large number of jumper cables can be kept there. So, I do not know where this is coming from, where this is an RF feed or whatever it is. You have seen that this is a small transparent covered small equipment like this. So, part of the feed which was coming from there probably has to go here, and then you have a working thing ready. It looks like a miracle, but it is really it is a hard work. This is a closer look at. So, there is a display there, and then I do not know what these electronics are, and then this looks like a different type of connectors we have, and then you have some indicators. So, when you are working with these things, usually there is a way of making a printed circuit board which sits there, and then you need to attach this front panel. And this where I thought I will tell you that if you take all the necessary dimensions and all from the catalogs, you will build a library which will be useful for you for this generation of equipment. It says some smart switch. So, you have all these nice beautiful colored things, and whether you like it or not, we have these power switches. So, next when I have the time, I will show you how these go into the regular rack. Now, you see here, this is one of the sub racks where already at the back you have a back plane, and you have all these slots for the printed circuit board. This was a very elaborate thing which I showed you in the previous lecture. You can go there and check with it. In general, if you are in the new networking products, you will end up with these things, and if in the initial stage itself you take a little bit of precaution, you will be able to use them optimally to the maximum. And this is from the work table of one of the people who have been working there. We are into computers, like there is a display here, there is a display here, and probably there is a laptop here, and finally whichever way you look at it, you end up with this things here. I still do not know what it is. This is one generation and this is a previous generation, and anyway this is not part of it. This is a something to do with the soldering technique. And when this new generation equipments have come, this old generation also, it is very easy for us to convert it into that type of an appearance by just what you call improving it. So, while parallelly the electronics inside improves tremendously, the front look also you can practice by using any Illustrator software, and you can come out with very, very interesting combinations. So, one lady is operating one, I do not know what exactly it is. It looks like it is some UV curing equipment for this printed wiring board, where there is some heating, and the important thing to notice here is you have a profile for ramping up the temperature and ramping down the temperature. At this point, you probably do not actually require a very complicated LCD display. All you need to do is you just need to make these points, and probably there is a small bit of selection. So, this ramp 1, ramp 2, everything is displayed here, and by manipulating these switches, they are able to get that thing going. So, I am impressed by it. This is actually a real life very, to me it is dangerous. I do not want to go any closer. This is some power electronics equipment. First time you will notice is these are all very high voltage. It takes 400 volts, rectifies and keeps it there, and you have this many things to work on. Eventually all that will go into the drive which I have shown you. So, I think this is made for some 100 kilowatt high speed multi-phase drive. When the people want to package it, now they need to come and show us what is it they wanted to do. Say this many, he told me each one of them is some leg of some part of an inverter, while in the beginning we start like this, eventually everything will be made better. So, it is this, there are so many of these printed circuit boards here, probably this is one of them, and this and all that after the actual test is over, finally they will get neatly packaged and you will have a running thing. This is something which I have taken from my home collection. There is nothing, it is a 3 phase, I am sorry, it is a 3 pin single phase some power device. You will see that here you will notice that you have a switch and then you have a fuse and you have this. These things, once you buy it, you probably need to add an extra cover plate on this, which shows to what type of load this is connected, what load has to be connected here, what is the operation that is connected here, and what is the status of the power in case of fail, what goes and all that. This is not a actually real life product, it is not a full product actually. This is only what do you call a 2D rendering, and this particular one talks about start and a stop button. I am sorry, green is usually start, stop button, and there is a load here, and this one is the what do you call infamous timer, which you find ubiquitous, more than infamous, famous, ubiquitous, so called I think, I do not know, it is called fortune or something, timer which you find anywhere. So, how do you arrange all these things, and once you have this, it is very easy for us to move on to the workshop and just follow this template and carry out the operations. And where do we get all the information? There is always the this is actually taken from my child's book, saying if you do not get the information or if you are lost, you can read books, but in this case I refer to various types of catalogs. Any information you want is probably available somewhere in the catalog, and over the years if you try to build on this, information like this is freely available. You see here hole center is 105 mm for a 120 millimeter fan, and for arranging these things, if you make just 2 views, saying one in the front or back view, one in the side view or the top view, your thing is ready. Absolutely, life can't be better and easier than this. Now, for the while I will just close this and try to take you back to electronic enclosures. See, in this first thing you will notice in this is anything you want, especially if you see the other device which I tried to show you, there is probably useful equivalent devices available for you. So, we have aluminum enclosures, fully sealed. IP67 is, you can even immerse it in water. Then we have all these things, and in these cases all you need is, I tried to show you the other day, all you just need to do is try to make a just a front panel and to make the front panel without having to worry too much about it. If you have all the necessary data from the books, you can very easily make any of these things what you wanted to do. Main thing is you can talk to your other people in your group and get things going. So, two levels here. One level is just to conceive the product, and for that this is where I was trying to tell you this. I had earlier I had shown you this. You just need to think about it, and eventually if you now send the file, it is easily milling and all can be done, but the first time if you do it properly, everything fits properly. So, we are into new wave of manufacturing things. This I do not know whether I had shown you earlier, but I think no harm in our checking it. Anything you can think of, all the hardware is available. It is for you to just conceive a product, and then as I said earlier, probably pass it on to a focus group. The focus group will now give you a feedback saying, while in your layout this looks okay, I would rather this device not be present here, I want it here, or I want the side or anything. For you to make a mock-up is very easy, and while the 2D mock-up can be done with any Illustrator or even any 3D software, you can always attach all these small devices directly onto your cardboard model and make one yourself, or in case it looks a little not worth making, you can always exchange it with your other team members who will be quite, I am sure, eager. That one had, if you remember that earlier thing what I showed you, and the knobs. Instead, in this case it is just a overlay sheet with a tactile feedback switch. So, you have seen this, somebody can operate these things, and all you need to do is just to create a overlay sheet. So, from here this is directly taken from the catalog, it is a full nice example. So, we have various things made out of basically the similar thing. If you remember, I had shown you this digital card reader earlier, and in fact what even is a very simple, what do you call, a black box can still be made a little more interesting by arranging things such that they are very convenient. Seen here, anything you want, all these things are available, including what looks like a beautiful display. And now that because these are available, you need not spend too much time on the hardware. Yes, this will be, maybe I expect, if you want to make it in bulk production, it will be 3 to 4 times the cost of your own making. But if you are making a few hundred pieces, and if the market supports it, you can buy these things directly. All you need to do is think a little about these dimensions. This is where I said books come to the rescue. So, necessary details are all here. At the bottom they have given a large table of available dimensions. Seen this? So, it is for you, which I feel is relatively easy to make anything you want. All you need to do is a little bit of forethought, so that I just make a appropriate sticker and make things that much more interesting. Things are this, I think we can take just a closer look. Seen here the actual utility enclosure, and then here you see the openings, and if you conceive of the product and make the printed wiring board to suit this, and you can upload the file, and all these things are very easily, they are all made easily and they are available here. Can you see here? Large number of things. I really do not know what it is, but you can see that without having too much of, without you are having to spending too much about it, anything you want is already available. All you need to do is put a sticker IoT probably, and you can sell your products better. IoT central data logger for agriculture. Now you see here, if you see this box, we have all the things already there. It is a question of what will you see here, something has been added to that, by which we have some settings, and basically it is waterproof. All you need to do is design what you want, and this here I feel is where you will be able to probably deal with your group and decide which is better, and there is a place and there is a niche market for these products. All it requires is a little bit of our imagination here. You have seen this? These are all fantastic amount of these products are available. See here, my interest is this. It is easy, any of you, in fact all of us, you and I know, all of us can easily get these things into the field. Now maybe you will appreciate that small temperature device which I was trying to show you. That one is a normal kitchen thermometer, and these are all the next level of agricultural things which very easy for us to do. Can you see? So many of these things are unbelievably very good devices. All these things, it requires a little bit of your imagination, and anything you want is here. Okay. See here, I still do not know what it is. It says some leakage detector by some Takatronics, and it shows you the amount of what do you call the various types of things that can be taken up and so on. So there is a gateway. All these products, they are very I feel relatively easy for you. Now at the bottom a huge selection of sizes is given there, and the hardware. I will not what do you call, I suggest you look up these things at your leisure. So anything you want is probably available. All you need to do is conceive of a product, and even waterproof series are there. So All you need to do is design the product, make a proper sticker, which was my what do you call thing. If you see these examples here, you will appreciate. So, I will continue this in the next session. You see here that there are any amount of possibilities by which only thing that you need to do is try to arrange the components and make it into a scale, some scale, and go to a catalog, pick the corresponding product that is likely to be cased in yours, design a, I will call it a interface panel. It could be front, back, sides or anything, and just paste it on top of it, and a perfect product is ready. So, I am wishing you the best that you make one of these very interesting things. At the moment, I thought I will show you these things. This is a new pointer for the PowerPoint. This was an existing old thing. I am sure some of you have seen it. Let me peel this, what do you call, tape. This is old, must be at least some 10 years old. It is all falling apart, but works very well. So, in this, if you see, I have keys, then I have a center key, then I have something, and if I am lucky and if I switch it on, it is dead. No. So, this is an earlier version of it. Now, they have sleek, fantastic devices. All these you can easily make in your own what you call on the desktop and so on. So, I will stop here. Thank you. Let us meet again in the next session. Thank you.